Howdy. Cool. All right, welcome back to Shameful Locks. We're here to talk about NFL Week 13. Blake Profio is my co-host here. I am Gabe Acosta as always. If you're new here, hi. Last night, today we are recording on a Friday. Last night was Thursday, and there was some Thursday night football. Probably the game of the year for Thursday night football, actually, which is really weird. The Cowboys played the Seahawks, and I personally was kind of expecting a big Cowboys blowout. I expected them to kind of curb stomp the Seahawks. That did not happen. Ended up being a real close game. Cowboys won by 6. Thoughts, Blake?
Yeah, man. Dak, he's putting himself in that MVP conversation. Cowboys offense looked really good. Their defense, I mean, I know Seattle's got some weapons, but their defense, they made plays when it mattered, but overall they didn't look too good. But once again, furthers my point that Seattle is fraudulent. So I just don't think they're good.
I 100% agree with you. They are now sitting at 6-6. I think they started like 6-2 or something like that. Lost like 4 straight. So tough to be a Seattle fan, but couldn't be me.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since we've seen you guys. We unfortunately were not able to make a video last week. It was Thanksgiving. We couldn't find a time to record. But we did go ahead and put out a graphic with our picks. So we did go ahead and make picks. Hopefully you guys saw that. I put that out on my social media. On my Instagram at Gabe Acosta 25. Follow me if you don't already. I'm awesome sometimes, not really. Yeah, thought I'd rep the good old Zeke jersey for the Cowboys victory last night. Hate the Cowboys anyway, but I own a jersey, so might as well bring it out every once in a while, you know. But we got a lot to recap here real quick. Like we said, it's been 2 weeks since we've seen you guys. We didn't get to recap NFL week 10 or sorry, we recapped week 10 already. We have to recap week 11 and 12. So we'll start with 2 weeks ago first, our week 11 week, which was a pretty good week. Overall, Blake and I went a good 4-2 on our 6 total picks. I'll start with Blake there. So your game pick 2 weeks ago was Rams money line cashed. You got that at plus 100, so you won 1 full unit there. Your player prop of the week was Derrick Henry over 56.5 rushing yards. I just don't think he hasn't got anything going in the last few weeks. So I know that was 2 weeks ago, so I don't know if you have too much to say on that one.
No, I mean, I know last week he had 2 touchdowns and he had some yards, but I think betting him now is kind of too risky. So I got to stay away, even though I love, I love the numbers, but sometimes they lie to me.
Yeah, it happens. But you did obviously win your shameful lock of the week, which was Jahmyr Gibbs over 24.5 receiving yards. Obviously, Blake is goated at his shameful locks, so he cashed that. Blake 2 weeks ago did end up going 2-1. He did end up going positive 0.83 units if you tailed all his picks. So hypothetically, if you threw $100 on all Blake's picks, you walk away positive $83. 2 weeks ago, my picks. I had Bills Jets under 40. Bills curb stomped the Jets, and I was thinking, oh shit, this is not going to go well for me. Don't remember what the final score was, but I remember it being really close. I think it ended up being like 28-10 or something like that. Like it was super close score wise
Yeah.
to almost going over, but it did not. So that's a cash for me. And then I had Josh Jacobs over 82.5 rushing plus receiving yards. They were playing the Dolphins that week, and I kind of predicted, the Raiders did kind of keep that game close. I think the
Yeah.
Dolphins only won by 7, which was kind of
Hmm.
surprising. But Josh Jacobs just couldn't get anything going. It seemed like it was Devontae Adams' day that day, unfortunately for me. So that was my one loser of the week. But my best bet of the week was Saquon Barkley over 68.5 rushing yards against the Commies. And that was looking terrible in the first half. I think in the first half,
Yeah.
he had like 8 yards.
Hmm.
And then in the second half, he just turned it on and had like 2 30-yard runs or something like that. It was miraculous, I would say. But I also went 2-1 2 weeks ago for week 11, and I went up 0.8 units. So that felt pretty good. And then, like I said, we didn't get to do a video last week, but we did put out a graphic. Hopefully you guys saw that, but here are our recap based off that. So we'll start with Blake. Last week you had Steelers minus 1.5. Steelers win 16-10 against the Bengals without Joe Burrow. Thoughts?
I mean, you just knew they were going to win that game. They just kind of got embarrassed by the Browns week prior. Another divisional game, just had a feel, you know.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that pick. I think it was a good one. And then you did turn to the Browns here, which this one was kind of fortunate. I'll be honest with you. Jerome Ford over 48.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like, you know, DTR can't really do anything as a passer, so they're gonna have to run against that Broncos defense, which I think he ended with like 60 something maybe. So fortunately I think I beat that line by like 20 or something. So
By 12.
oh, 12. Okay.
But like I said, it was a little close because I think he got it real quick, but then like he ended up finishing with like 60 something.
Hmm.
So like he didn't do much after he got you your mark there.
Right.
But that was a win. But I do need to talk about this. Unfortunately, the run had to come to an end, and it's unfortunate because obviously I tailed because knowing what's been going on here. If you've been watching, we do one shameful lock of the week. It's our best bet. Blake was 7-0 going into last week. He finally lost one, unfortunately, and it was a brutal loss. I'll be honest. It should have hit. He had Stephon Diggs over 75.5 receiving yards. I think he finished with 74. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think you 73, yeah, 74. You know, that game went into overtime and he needed what, 2 yards. And I think he got two or three targets in overtime, and he kind of like dropped one. The other one should have been pass interference, but just a bad beat. But I think I was due to lose. You know, you're not going to be perfect in your bets, so it's good. I got that out of the way now, so I can stop sweating as much to try to keep that record perfect.
Uh, for the note here, he is still 7-1, so I still will be tailing Blake's shameful luck of the week no matter what. But anyway, yeah, like you said, he definitely caught one and then it got punched out, and I was like, oh man. And
Yeah,
then I think he caught one and then it got called back by a penalty too, which
brutal.
really it stinks. But yeah. So you ended up going 2-1 last week, positive zero point 0.8 units. Hey, still going up. Blake's overall record is now sitting at a cool 22-14, positive 6.25 units. Like I said, if you played all of Blake's bets, you'd be up a good amount of money right now. My turn. I had a really stupid week last week, I'll be honest. So I had Eagles -3. That was a push. Eagles won by 3 in overtime. They don't kick the extra point when they score a touchdown because they already won. Hate that for betting purposes, which I guess I
Yeah.
get it. There's no point. It's literally just kicking them while they're down. There's no point to it. But I guess I got a push. Yay. And then my player prop of the week was Jalen Warren over 49.5 rushing yards. And I got to be honest, I got kind of greedy with this one. The original prop that I was seeing in a lot of other books was like 47.5, 48.5. And I was like, well, he's going to get 50. I mean, there's no really
Yeah.
difference there. No, he ended with 49. Super awesome. Right on the hook there. So I don't know if you had a bigger worse loss or I did this week. Just
Hmm.
right there by a yard or two. So
Brutal.
unfortunately, that was an L for me. And then my lock of the week was a big win. I had DJ Moore over 58.5 receiving yards. He cashed out on Monday Night Football. I think he finished with over 100.
Yep. Good pick.
Yeah, so I watched football for free almost last week. Which I mean I'll do it any time, any day, but I lost 0.1 units last week, taking me to 16, 19, and 1. I am now sitting at minus 3.71 units. I'm right there. I'm super close to finish positive, and I think I'll get there. And then lastly, our joint TD parlay. The last 2 weeks did not hit, unfortunately. 2 weeks ago we had Eckler and Pollard. Pollard scored, and then Eckler fumbled at the 2-yard line. Fuck you. Um, and then James Conner, and Gus Edwards were our picks last week. Neither of them scored. So we moved to 3 and 4 in our touchdown parlays of the week, or joint TD parlays. We'll have another one for you guys this week. But without further ado, week 13. Blake, I think you're due to start.
All right, I'm due to start. We're going to start with the player prop. We've been starting with the game picks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So my player prop, I have Evan Ingram over 42.5 receiving yards versus Cincinnati, and I got that at minus 110 on ESPN Bet. So the Bengals are really bad against tight ends. Like the middle of the field, they don't cover. They give up 70 yards a game to tight ends, which is, I think, the highest mark in the league. And as a Steelers fan, got to see Pat Fryermuth put up 120 against them. So that's kind of why I made this pick, just because how susceptible that middle of the defense is for the tight ends. And I think Evan Ingram is a good tight end. Um, Evan Ingram has gone over that 42 and a half mark, 7 out of 11 games this year. So he's obviously getting the targets, getting the yards. It's all there. And I think the Jags are playing a good brand of football right now. And honestly, I think this Bengals team is really defeated, especially their defense. Their season's over. Like, they lost Joe Burrow. They're kind of just playing for pride right now. And the Jags are, still trying to win their division. So yeah, I think he beats his mark, and the Jags roll the Bengals.
I like that. Yeah, that's gonna be a Monday night game, which you would think that would be a really good game, but Burrow's hurt, so
Yeah.
I think the Jags are heavy favorites, and I know Trevor Lawrence loves to get down to Evan Ingram and right down the middle of the field, which,
Yep.
if you can see in the past, it works really well actually.
It's there for the taking.
Yeah, it's right there. All right, you started with your player prop, so I think I'll do the same thing. We'll change it up a little bit. We usually start with our game picks, but I'm going to a guy which I definitely show a little bias here because I drafted this guy in all 4 of my fantasy leagues with my number 1 pick. So I'm going to Bijan Robinson over 59.5 rushing yards. I got this at -110 at ESPN Bet. But Bijan and the Falcons are traveling to Jersey this weekend to play the Jets, and the Jets stink. I'll start with that. But I think we got some good trending data for this pick here, and I'll start with this. So the Falcons are doing this weird thing over the last few years where they draft really high-end players like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and then they barely give them any touches. They just don't give them the ball, and it's mind-boggling. Instead, they love to get the ball to their backups like Matt Collins, Jonnu Smith, Tyler Algier, all these guys who are just like guys who bounce around from team to team, who are just like backup role player kind of guys. And I think that all goes down to the Falcons head coach, Coach Arthur Smith. I think he thinks he's smarter than everybody and tries to do like a big, I'm galaxy braiding the NFL. I'm using all these high-end talent guys and using them as decoys, and then we'll sneak it in there with the backup role players. In reality, he's just a stupid moron. But you might be hearing all this and like everything I just said and be like, Gabe, why the fuck are you taking this pick then? Well, hear me out here. Over the last 2 games, it seems like somebody finally got into Arthur Smith's stupid ass head that if you give your good players the ball, good things happen. Crazy concept. I know. I don't think a lot of people could possibly think of that. But like I said, I think Arthur Smith is super mega stupid. But over the last 2 games, Bijan is finally getting the goddamn ball. It's so overdue and it's so frustrating. But over the last 2 weeks, Bijan has gotten 38 rush attempts compared to the backup, who has 19 rush attempts in that same span. If you go before that, the backup, for some reason, had been out rushing Bijan on the season, yet Bijan having over 100 more yards than him with less touches. It doesn't make any sense. Arthur Smith's a moron. But like I just said, Bijan has been getting the ball, and over the last 2 games, he's had 90-plus rushing yards in each game, and the Jets just gave up 90-plus rushing yards to Raheem Mostert and the Dolphins. So I love this matchup. I just hope that Arthur Smith doesn't fuck this up for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I for some reason I thought the Jets had a better rush defense than they actually do, but they're like bottom 10 in the league rush defense wise. So I mean, they're another team where they're like, oh, we're going to get Aaron Rodgers back, blah blah blah. It's stupid. I mean, those guys look defeated on the sideline all the time. Like, you watch their games, the defense is on the sideline just like sitting there like they hate their lives. So yeah, I just don't think they really give a crap about their season anymore. So
yeah. And the Falcons have a lot more to play for right now too, as they're leading their really, really crappy division.
Yeah. All right. We'll move into our game picks. So as I like to do, I like to take my game picks about feel and a little bit about the atmosphere of the NFL. And it might sound a little conspiracy theorist, but just listen. I got some good points, I think. So I'm going to take the 49ers -2.5 at the Eagles. I got this at -118 on FanDuel. Um, as everyone knows, these are two of the NFC juggernauts. They're both really good teams. Pretty good coach, like great coaches. They're just playing good football right now. But to be honest, I think the 49ers are playing better football right now, even though the Eagles have beat a couple good teams recently. I mean, 49ers are just curb stomping teams. The Eagles, I think the Eagles have played some better teams over the last 3 games, but they're kind of just like barely winning. They haven't really impressed me a whole lot. Um, so if you think about it this way, right now the Eagles are 10-1 and the 49ers are 8-3. If 49ers win this game, they'll go to 9-3 and the Eagles will go to 10-2. And then surprise, surprise, next week is Eagles and Cowboys. So it would be the 10-2 Eagles versus the 9-3 Cowboys. I mean, the NFL would absolutely love that. They would absolutely love to have that for the division. So I'm thinking the 49ers roll into Philly, a statement win, and then all of a sudden the first seed in the NFC is up for grabs, and it's going to be, the final how many weeks finish for the top seed. So might be a little conspiracy theorist, but that's just what I think. So
You said that game is in Philly?
yes,
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's probably it's got game of the week written all over it.
yeah,
I'm really excited for that game, and I could see it going either way. But I think you're right. I think the Eagles have the best record in the NFL right now, but I wouldn't say that they're the best team. It seems like they pull a lot of crap out of their ass the last few minutes of the game and win.
yeah. So
But yeah, I like that pick. Any other words, or is it my turn?
no, go ahead, go ahead. That's it.
All right, cool. So my game pick this week, I am rolling to the Colts -1 against the Tennessee Titans this week. I got this -110 at Bet365. Like I just mentioned, the Colts are playing the Titans in Tennessee this week, and I went with this pick a few weeks ago, and I'm going to ride with the Colts again. Like I said, I think the Colts are sitting at a nice 6-5, currently holding the 7th seed, which is the final playoff spot right now in the AFC, while the Titans are at 4-7. I think that the Colts have a lot more to play for, and I don't think they're a bad team. I think that I think that their coach is doing a pretty good job. I think he's doing Shane Steichen. I think he's doing a lot with not a lot on his plate. As what I think is kind of the best way to word that is that like he lost Anthony Richardson real early, so now he throws in a backup Gardner Minshew, who's not bad, but I feel like he's really squeezing everything he can get out of Gardner Minshew, making him look way better than he actually is. And I
Yeah,
think he's just kind of doing that with the entire team. The Colts don't have a lot of really good pieces, maybe like Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor, who's been there like 40% of the year so far. He's not playing in this game. But I just think that the coaching is doing a really good job, and they're doing a lot with not a lot. I guess if that makes sense.
mhm.
But like I said, they play the Titans, and I know the Titans are not. I don't ever count on them to like just kind of throw in the towel because they're coached by a really good coach in Mike Vrabel. But I just think that Steichen is going to be able to get his team to perform because they have a lot more to play for. They're currently holding a playoff spot and really don't want to lose that because they're ahead of probably teams that are better than them. Like the Bills are out there outside the playoff race right now. The Texans are outside the playoff race. I said the Colts have already beat Tennessee once this year already in Indy. They beat them 26-16. So for all the reasons I just said, I'm going to go ahead and take the team that I think is better, with a lot more to play for, with the better weapons right now.
Yeah, I like that pick. I mean, the Colts are they're surprising 6-5 right now, which it really shocked me. I honestly didn't think their record was that good for the caliber of team they are. And Tennessee, man, they're just not a great football team. Will Levis, not sold on him. Derrick Henry's not really playing great football. Yeah, I just don't like the Titans enough to say they could beat the Colts right now. So I
Yeah,
like it.
I really don't like the Titans defense, and I think that the Colts offense has a lot more firepower right now too. I had that
Yeah,
one there.
yeah, I like it. Okay, moving on to shameful lock time. So time to dial it in. Oh, all right.
Gotta reel
So
it back in.
reel it in. All right, here we are. Um, I got Adam Thielen over 5.5 receptions, and I got that at -15. minus 115 on DraftKings. So the Panthers play at the Bucks on Sunday, and the Bucks give up 196 receiving yards and 14 receptions a game to receivers, which are both, uh, I think, almost at the top of the NFL. Like they just, I don't know, they don't cover receivers, I guess. They don't really play defense. They have one of the worst secondaries. They're just not a good team. And then Thielen has gone over that 5.5 receptions mark, 8 out of 11 games. He's made it. It's pretty clear that he's Bryce Young's favorite weapon out on the field. And he had like one reception last game for 2 yards or something, but they got smoked. Um, so the Panthers just fired their head coach, who was also their play caller for like half the season. Well, he started off as not the play caller, and then he took over the play calling duties like a couple weeks ago or whatever. And he was terrible. Like they didn't develop Bryce Young at all. So personally, I think whatever they do now is they're going to do their best to evaluate Bryce Young and what they have in him. And I think they're just kind of going to let him go out there and sling it around. And I think he's going to be looking Adam Thielen's way a lot with that really terrible secondary. So, and he's getting the volume. He has like 11 receptions like in 3 or 4 games this year. So
Wow.
he's having a quietly really good year for being, what is he, like 32 or something? So
Yeah, he's definitely getting up there in age, and
yeah,
I like that pick mostly because I can't think of another wide receiver on the Panthers.
yeah.
I know they have I think some guy out of Old Miss named Mingo, and I think he's terrible. And then I think they have DJ Chark, who I think's hurt.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So I like that because I can't think of another Panthers wide receiver. So somebody's got to get the ball.
yeah.
I like that. All right, real quick before I go ahead and get my pick, like I said, Blake is 7-1 in his Shameful Locks. I am still positive on mine as well, though. I am sitting at 5-3 on my Shameful Locks this year, which is
That's good.
nothing,
Good.
nothing to hang your head low
No.
on. I feel good about
Mm,
that.
yeah.
But I'll go ahead and get my pick real quick, which I'm going back to another running back here, which I feel like I've been doing a lot of running back props, but I feel like over the last few weeks I'm having a lot of 1 and 2, 1 and 1 weeks, or sorry, 2 and 1 weeks and 1 and 1 weeks. But yeah, I'm going to a running back again. I'm going to David Montgomery over 62.5 rushing yards. I get this at minus 114 on FanDuel, and definitely try to make sure you shop around with this one. I've seen that this line for his rushing yards has kind of been all over the place. I've seen 68 yards. I've seen 66 yards. I've seen 65 yards. Mostly because of Jalen Warren's incident for me last week, finishing 1 yard shy. I went with the lowest possible total for the highest value, just because I'm not going to play with fire again. Just give me the win. But before I dive in here, this is probably my favorite play I've had all season, if I'm being honest. If I could make this more than a 1 unit play, I would do it. But we don't do that around here. And I know the second I do that, it's cursed and I'll lose and he'll destroy his ankle on the first play of the game. But Montgomery, I'll start referring to him as Monty just for ease there. But Monty plays for the Lions and they travel to New Orleans this week to play the Saints. And Monty has been killing it this season. Monty is averaging 81 yards on the ground a game. And that is including a game where he got hurt and he missed. And he had 6 carries for 14 yards total on the day. Monty's lowest rushing total for a game where he finished, where he played the entire game, was just 67 rushing yards, which is clearing this. And if that's the min, I'm feeling real good about 62.5. And I know where this line's kind of a little low is probably because of the emergence of Jahmyr Gibbs, who has exploded when when Monty did miss 3 games because of injury. But since Monty's been back, he is definitely retaken that starting role on the backfield. In the 3 games he's been back, he's had 71, 76, and 116 rushing yards in the last 3 weeks. So it's definitely safe to say he's got that starting role on lock. I know he definitely shares a lot of carries with Gibbs, but he should still see enough carries to where he should be able to crush this 62.5 rushing yard mark. So look for Lions and Monty to keep up the ground game. And like I said, I think Jared Goff has definitely been struggling a little bit the last few games. So I think the Lions will definitely try to get back in the win column. And I think they're going to run the ball and ground pound it a little bit, get back to what they're good at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Monty is definitely, since he's came back from injury, he's definitely been like you know, the guy who they give the ball to a ton. I think Gibbs is more of like that catch and screen game guy out of the backfield, explosive play, but their workhorse is Monty. Like they're going to get him the ball. They're going to ride him. But yeah, hopefully hopefully he gets all of his touches, because if he gets his touches, he's probably gonna hit that mark pretty easily. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Fun fact before we get to our joint TD parlay. You know who just ran for 90 yards on the Saints last week?
The Saints last week. I don't even know who they play.
Bijan.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here.
But yeah, the Saints are supposedly have a pretty good defense, but you know who did it last week? Bijan. You know who's gonna do it again this week? Monty, hopefully.
Count it.
Count it. All right, we're gonna go ahead here and jump into our joint TD parlay. As always, we don't count this towards our units or anything. We're just something for fun. We just do where we both pick a guy, we throw $10+ on it maybe, and then just write it out and see how it goes. We are 3-4 on this so far in the year, losing our last two, but we're looking to get back into the W column here this week. I'll go ahead and start us off here. I'm going to a wide receiver on the Broncos this week. I'm going to Cortland Sutton, anytime touchdown scorer. You can get this individually for about plus 200-ish on a few different books. Cortland has scored a touchdown in 8 games, or he has 8 touchdowns this year. He scored in 8 games as well. He has 1 touchdown in 8 different games. But in 6 of his last 7 games, he has scored at least 1 touchdown. Feels good spot. Again, as always, make sure you shop this around because, like I said, this is about plus 200 if you grab this on the individual line on most books. But if you go to DraftKings, it was minus 105. Huge difference.
Yeah, I mean Russ is kind of cooking. I mean, I gotta give it to him. And he's looking for Cortland. Like I remember that catch he made against the Bills. I was like, oof, this guy's this guy's legit.
He's pretty good.
So for my touchdown guy, I picked Jerome Ford on the Browns. I really have no rhyme or reason for it. I kind of just pick a guy for this and hope he scores, just because it's the N.F.L. You never know who's going to score. So I'm not sure what the odds are. I'll leave that up to Gabe.
Yep, I'm always the odds guy, but that was about 130-ish, I think, on ESPN. Combine this, we got this for plus 703 on ESPN bet, which I notice has kind of been the spot to go for a lot of these touchdown scoring bets. The odds on there are just significantly higher, so definitely look to use that if you're trying to get touchdown bets going.
Yeah, but doesn't ESPN bet, don't they have that where if it's a push, like you don't get a refund?
Yeah, so it is really stupid. ESPN bet you got to read through the stupid rules and terms and conditioning. But if you have a push like I had last week where Eagles -3, if you have that in a parlay, they'll just push the whole parlay, which is bullshit. And what would happen if you went to another book is they would just void that leg and then count the parlay without that leg in it. So your odds would go down, but you would still win. They say, screw you. Here's your money back. Have a good day. Even though if you win 4 or 5 legs, but the last one pushes.
What if it's a straight bet?
If it's a straight bet and it pushes, you just get your money back.
Oh, I thought I read something like they didn't do pushes. They just took your money.
I think so. I think so. I mean, shoot, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, we'll have to investigate ESPN bet, and I'll read through their 200-page of terms and condition real quick.
Okay, sounds good. Yep.
Real quick. All right, cool. That'll wrap us up for Shameful Locks this week. Feel pretty good about it. Need to jump back in it. We're due.
Yeah. Let's win some money this weekend. I lost every single bet last night. Currently getting my ass kicked in fantasy, so it's not looking good for me, but hopefully these all hit and then I'll be happy. So
hey, you just got to turn it around. Just got to turn it around.
Got to.
All right, cool. That'll wrap us up. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
See ya.